Control 32,000 drones in this fast-paced strategy adventure. Draw attack paths, and a part of the swarm will execute the order, destroying everything in its way. Orchestrate multiple attacks in fast succession, and the swarm will follow. The swarm can also protect. Draw defensive walls to block incoming attacks. But be careful, large walls leave fewer drones for counterattacks. Only deploy them where you really need them. On your journey, you'll gain upgrades for your mothership and new abilities for your swarm. Learn to smash asteroids into enemies. Trap them in your walls. Devour their ships, and much more. But beware of enemies countering your tactics. Wall-busting torpedoes, shielded ships, and shockwave emitters that can disable your drones. You'll need to constantly adapt your tactics on your journey to find New Earth. Drone Swarm. Wishlist us now on Steam. Drone Swarm. Available now on Steam. Drone Swarm. Available now on Steam. Drone Swarm. Available now on Steam.
Welcome to Vegas. Hey, I invested in some buildings, and I want you to build the beautifulest casino in them. Just look at all the gamblers. Oh my gosh, I mean, like a herd of cows, rolling in, lining up at machines, waiting to be milked. So, build a great casino, keep your cows, guests happy, and let's make some money. The house always wins.
Thank you so much for joining the interview. Would you mind starting immediately with an introduction of yourself before we talk about your studio?
Hey, yes, of course. So my name is Julian. I'm the founder and CEO of Stillalive Studios here in Innsbruck, Tyrol. And yeah, really nice to be here.
Yeah, cool. I mean, Stillalive has released so many interesting titles in the past. We would love to hear everything also about the history from Stillalive. How did you get to found this studio, and until where are you now? And, yeah.
Well, that's quite a question. But let's say we started out 2012, and then did our first big project, which was Son of Nor, right? And we started to create a team around it, but we didn't have a funding. So our first funding, and that's also when we incorporated in 2013, was with Kickstarter. So we managed to get a sizable Kickstarter funding for our first project, and from then on out, it grew over the years. When we then got the bus simulator and got to work on Bus Simulator 16, which was our second big project that we worked on, that was very successful already in the early days, that led directly to then its sequel, Bus Simulator 18, that came out 2 years ago. So that was the one branch, so to say. And the second branch, with our own IP after Son of Nor, we did Drone Swarm, that came finally out this year, which is a crazy success for me, at least, because own IP and getting your own ideas out in the world is a very challenging and difficult thing. So I'm super glad it worked out the second time.
Congrats again to this. What an achievement.
Thank you very much.
Where are you now? What are you doing at the moment? Are you working on some titles? Can you tell us something? What are the
I'm fortunately in a position that right now both are announced already. So there will be Bus Simulator 21, the sequel to Bus Sim 18. We continue nurturing that very cool franchise together with Astragon. And the second one is Grand Casino Tycoon, which is basically a spiritual successor to Rescue HQ, the management game we built and released in 2018 as well. And they will both come out next year. So stay tuned on that one.
Cool. Can you already tell us some concepts or anything you can share already?
Do you mean for upcoming future projects? Well, not at this point yet.
We are following absolutely what you're
Yes.
doing next. But I mean, speaking of the future, what can you tell us about like your future vision, your future goals, and I mean, where do you see your studio in the not only like in the next years, but only like the big vision?
Oh, that is tough. So I would say we would want to develop into own IP and work for hire studio that is regularly releasing their own IP projects, but also working on and continue working on the big franchises like Bus Simulator, which is very enjoyable and very gratifying to work on. And we will probably grow a little bit more, but not crazily. And we would like to stay here in the middle of the Alps, also having our remote workers all around the world that connect to our office, so to say, and so have this decentralized way of doing things.
Cool. I mean, how many people are you at now, and what are you aiming at, if I may ask?
So right now we are 35,
Wow.
and we will probably grow over the next couple of years. It's really hard to say, but I assume there will be some growth. So far, there was always some organic growth ongoing, which I personally like, that it's being organic and not rushed. So it's always nice and stable, and people come first. That is very important that we maintain that attitude.
Cool. I mean, you have a big team already. Are like, what would you give as advice to people who are looking to get a position in the games industry, or to young developers or students who are interested in game development?
I mean, the one core thing that I always look in newcomers and new team members is curiosity. I would advise you to be curious. What do I mean by that? If you work on something, if you work on a game idea, if you work with a technology and so on, dig deeper, find out why, find out how things work, and try to, be curious about it and think about what's behind it, because that lets you learn a lot, that lets you advance a lot, and in the end, that provides you with a base understanding of your topic of choice, and that is the key thing. Everything else you can learn in the studio.
Oh, that's really nice. This is really beautiful. I would like to tackle one specific question for your studio. You had a very
Yeah, sure.
successful Kickstarter campaign.
Yeah.
Do you have any advices which you draw?
Outdated advices, yes. I mean, the Kickstarter was 2013, so it's really a lot has changed in the Kickstarter landscape, and how you do things, how press reacts to Kickstarter, how people react to Kickstarter, community evolved there. I mean, I kept tabs on it a little bit, but I'm not an expert anymore on that subject area.
No, but again, this has been back then really, really cool to see such a great success in Austria. So congrats to that again.
Thank you very much.
The last question might be, maybe an easy one, but usually a very challenging one. Because, I mean, 2020 has been a weird year. It has been a challenging year for many of us.
Yes.
How did you cope with this year, and also like with leading your studio? Are there any takeaways for like how you change things in the future, and what are you most looking forward to when things are getting back to normal again?
And the last part is easy. I'm looking forward to being back in the office with all the other team members, or most of the other team members, because that social contact and that social interactions, those are really missing for me. And I mean, of course, we do way more team events nowadays online and play together, do cheese Thursdays, hat Wednesdays, and whatnot. So, all crazy things, but it does not come close. I mean, it's nice, but face-to-face time is irreplaceable in my eyes. So yeah, that was actually also the biggest challenge. I mean, the transition to home office wasn't as much. We had a sound infrastructure, but still, also on that front, there are some downsides that you need to work with, which is mostly limited internet connection bandwidth as with everyone's at home. Then obviously you don't have the local server infrastructure, so everything you need to download from the office takes forever in comparison to being there on site with a super high speed LAN connection. Then also just, turning around and asking, wait, how would you solve that? That is the barrier of exchanging information is just so much lower when you're sitting next to one another, as opposed to, oh, I have to call someone. So yeah, those were the main things. Fortunately, on the, let's say, project side, everything was already signed at the beginning of the year, so we didn't have any challenges on that front. The challenges will arise now with the follow-ups, because 2019 was, or 2020 especially, was especially dry on possibilities.
Thank you so much for sharing this. It has been a pleasure meeting you, and thank you so much for this interesting interview and like those honest
Sure, thank you very much.
questions. So bye bye.
Bye.